Little break and ran home for something like that I did not have. I realized thinking about this, this piece was a little longer than I really needed to be anyways. So I'm going to just trim this down, sand it, and reuse it. I'm gonna just use a handsaw because I don't have any power tools right now since I don't have power. Cut this off, bang out the nails, and then I'm gonna show you guys a neat little trick that avoids using wood filler. And if you want to do lifetime on things, it's pretty much the way that you need to do this kind of stuff. So yeah, a little bit more of what I'm doing while I'm doing this here. So it turns out that the reason why this was cut in where it was cut in is because you have these here for the sink. So this won't fit flush if it's just straight across. So what I'm doing right now, first mark this with my square there, took across with straight edge to make a line so I know where that was approximately. Right now, and I'm almost there, I'm just using my little handy smandy hand thingamajobber there and getting enough of a curve here to accommodate that. I think I can do that without getting all the way up there. Hopefully this works out alright. So, using the hand plane, got it far enough up there to get it even with the edge. Works pretty nice. I mean, it's not quite a perfect fit, and again, this is probably something that I will eventually just replace. But I have no access to power tools right now. I just don't want to mess with it. Next, I'm going to mark, pointing with my finger where you can't see, but I'm going to mark where the board is behind it so I remember what I'm working with, and then using these same holes so I'm not making new ones, I'm going to do a nifty little trick that you guys will see, which will work perfectly with the lifetime. So here we go. I'm not going to exactly use the specific holes because that's going to be a pain in the butt if I do. I'm going to make sure, yeah, I've got plenty to work with here as far as where that other, here, actually this is an easier way to show you. As far as where that other board stops, got plenty to work with. So anyways, there's a screw that'd come out back here, what holds this in place. I had to replace that, but everything feels pretty good. So anyway, so what I'm going to do here, fancy schmancy little screwdriver thing. Some of these I'm going to reuse, some of them I'm not. Okay, go and make sure I got a good hole. Now I check to make sure that this is approximately, the width is slightly less than the width of the shank on the screw that I'm going to use. And that will, it's basically a nice little pre-drilled hole. I'll go ahead and do all these and then I'll come back. All my secrets. These are wooden dowels. They're used for usually joining two pieces of wood. I have a little different use for them that I've done several times over. I think this is actually like wood that's been pressed together. So it's usually like a cheap a pine or a whiteboard or whatever. White wood, they call that, sort of the generic wood. But the main thing that I want to do is I want to remind myself which drill bit these line up to size-wise. And this will actually be just a little small, but I think unfortunately the next one would be way too big. We'll take a look here real quick, we'll see. I might have some others. That, you see, that's just a little on the large size. Because if I hold it against that, you can actually just see the shank just around it. So we'll probably go with the next smaller, and I'll show you that bit in a second. So after I set the camera down, did a little closer comparison, I decided to go with the slightly larger bit. So what I'm going to do is, at each of these points here, I'm going to drill in just a little bit. I mean, just a slice, a little bit of an amount, not deep at all. And I'll show you that here in a second. I drilled those, you just went very carefully, and hopefully you can get a concept of the depths that I went. Probably not quite half of the wood. It does help that this is like a genuine 1-inch piece of wood right here, I think, just about. Let's take a look. No, actually, I guess it is right about 3/4, maybe a little bit more. It's thicker than your normal 3/4 by a little bit, I think. Or at least it feels like it. I could just be having delusions. So, I'll do these other three over here, and I'll mount it up. There are my screws, sunk nice and deep. As you can see, unfortunately, I chipped a little bit there. But I will eventually just replace this board outright, so not a huge deal. So you can see those are good and countersunk, or sunk, or whatever the proper wording is. My main brain is a little bit out of it at the moment. this one I'm going to take just a little bit deeper. And then I'll be back doing the dowels. Grab the wrong dowels at first. These are the dowels that I'm using for this. So, I mean, it's pretty simple. This actually literally just sits in here. That one's obviously a little looser. This one's pretty good and tight. I think when I originally got these dowels, I sized them to the head of the screw because the screw head actually makes the hole just a little bit wider. I'll probably just take a little bit of wood glue, put that on the tip to hold it to the screw just to make sure it doesn't come out easily. In most cases, in this case, I might not do that. Well, if I do, I'll do a very small amount of wood glue. Just because, again, I do intend to eventually take this apart. So that'll make that a little easier. To the party, probably one of my favorite tools that I own, which is my dovetail saw that I use in many ways it was intended, in many ways it was not intended to be used. But this is perfect, and I might really need 2 hands for this, for something like this, because you can basically press against there, get it flat to the wood, and saw that right off, which I'm going to do here with 2 hands. Of course, as would only make sense, I'm going to take the other half of that dowel, and I'm going to use it here. I got just a little bit more wood glue on there than I really wanted. Take some of that off with the fingers, because that makes sense, right? And shove that on in there. Get nice and firm. And then I will cut that off. From one dowel, I get basically 3 plugs. This one is the middle part, and that's just all that was left. I'm going to cut some of that off. I'll sand all of this. And I might wood glue in, since I actually have this piece that I cut off at the end of here, I might actually wood glue some of this. Just get a nice little piece shaped to that, because that's kind of the way I am, and then just would glue that in there just to make it look a little better. Thing to note, these holes actually ended up going a little bit cockeyed, so in result you get a little angle there, but this works for that. You just shove it in there and you cut off at whatever angle is flat. Works very well. And you'll see how that the color won't be quite as dramatic as it looks right now, soaked down with the lifetime. But I like the overall effect a lot better. I might put another one up there just for symmetry. But again, I'm probably going to get a different board. There's a good chance I'll do a different kind of backing too. And I do actually have a little bit of crack up there, I think, that came from where my screw holes end up going. So yeah, probably going to replace this and the backing behind it eventually. But for right now, there's just a lot more important things to worry about. And that works. So, and it's actually flat now. So that's good. And now we'll see if I can come up with something for that. This can end up being a super long video here, but I just want to show you after that dried off about what it looks like, color difference. The other thing I have that I'll probably use on permanent spots is I actually have a 3/8 inch diameter poplar, which will still look different from this, but it will match in a little better than these. But again, this is something eventually I'm just going to take a knife, pry these back out, and pull this off and redo it. So for now, this definitely works for me. Pretty easy fix. It's like a lot of things, it's frustrating. I'm right now just being easily frustrated at the moment, actually, so that didn't really help. And you can see, I think a lot of the outlets, that's going to be an issue. I don't know if I'm going to just be taking siding out all over the house, or if I'm just going to buy some larger outlet plates just to hide it. I mean, it's purely cosmetic. It's just kind of frustrating to me. And, you know, like I said, right now I'm kind of frustrated in other ways, so that doesn't help. Looking up and around, I think overall, though, the lifetime does look good. Basically, what I figured out for application overall is a brush combined with what's currently in there, a cloth, and basically wiping the brush off on the cloth so I don't get a lot of drips. And this, a little brush like this, I use a cloth for wiping large areas. This is a dry one, but for example, I just, you know, almost like you're washing the wall, just get it good and wet. And then I'm using the brush for any kind of detail stuff like the windows. That's drying off right now. In between the boards, I haven't hit that area yet. And just that kind of thing. So far, I like it. Definitely not everybody's cup of tea, which, by the way, if you do want to make it darker, you can use a cup of tea. But I just added 2 minutes to this video, so now I'm going to stop, and I'll see you all later.